most expensive thing to replace on your furnace is going to be the heat exchanger. In order to replace the heat exchanger, we basically have to remove everything from the front of the furnace. There's an inducer fan, which is like the exhaust fan. There's the gas valve. You've got the burners out front. So all that stuff has to come off the furnace in order for us to get to the heat exchanger, which is really the heart of the furnace. The burners, they blow their flame into the heat exchanger, and then when the fan blows air over the heat exchanger, that's what gives you warm air. The heat exchanger, honestly, about the only time we would ever replace that is if it was under warranty. First of all, it's going to be expensive to buy one. If it's not under warranty, you'll probably spend $1,500 just buying the heat exchanger, and then you've got to pay for the labor, and it's going to be a 3 or 4 hour process to get everything done. So the heat exchanger is definitely the most expensive part to replace. After that, you have a circuit board that runs a furnace. That can be fairly expensive. The blower motor, especially nowadays with variable speed blower motors, those are going to be expensive replacements also. You'll probably spend $2,000 replacing a blower motor nowadays. The gas valve could go bad. That's typically not so expensive just because it's right up front and it's a smaller part. But yeah, when the heat exchanger goes bad, you're really not going to replace it unless it's under warranty. You're looking at a new furnace at that point. By the time you pay to have the heat exchanger replaced, you probably could have bought a new furnace with new warranties, safer controls. So yeah, that heat exchanger is a big deal. So when the heat exchanger goes bad, that's usually a lot of stress from expansion and contraction. So basically, the furnace is short cycling. It comes on and it heats up real fast. So maybe the furnace is a little oversized for the house. So it heats everything up real fast, and then it shuts off, and then it cools down. And as it short cycles, all that expansion and contraction can create stress cracks in the heat exchanger. Also, on an older furnace, over time, they can develop cracks at the factory welds, just some, simply with age. Let's say your AC coil that sits on top of the furnace. Let's say the drain is backed up and now you got water in the summertime pouring down through your furnace. That's going to create rust on the heat exchanger, which over time, the expansion and contraction, that will create cracks in those rust spots. That's typically the most common type of failure on a heat exchanger.